Let's call this meeting to order on May 7th, 2024, 6:30 PM. Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Mahoney,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Here.
Trustee White,
Here.
Trustee Bristow.
Here.
Trustee Tapey. Trustee Westcott.
Here.
Trustee Cohen.
Here.
Right. And approval of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
I move to approve the agenda as presented. Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
Trustee Cohen,
Yes.
Trustee Bristow.
Yes.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes. Next item is public comments. Do we have anything online?
Do we have any attendees on Zoom that wish to make a public comment tonight?
Right. And we have Boucher. Please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Ms. Awesome. I am so technologically challenged. All right. I wrote this on Friday, May 3rd. Last night, a drunk driver completely took out my neighbor's fence, garden, and water spigot at 540 Locust. This is the second time this has happened to them. Not to mention when the young man got killed in my driveway, 542 Locust, on St. Patrick's Day a decade or more ago. This curve is like catnip to young and/or drunk drivers. The kid who demolished my neighbor's fence was drunk and went to jail. Another young man has a long history of hitting the curve on Locust at very high speeds, especially when it is wet or icy, and he definitely does it on purpose. I have seen him do so many times, but was never able to get outside quickly enough to take a picture or get a license plate. It was only a matter of time before something like this happens. If it weren't for the mature cottonwood tree in their front yard, 540, this car would have driven straight into the front of the house at 539 Locust. If it weren't for the mature tree in my front yard, the St. Patty's Day wreck would have driven straight into my neighbor's bedroom at 543 Locust. I know you can't put speed bumps in because of the snowplows, but speed dips will have the same effect and not be in the way of the snowplows, since they are below the street grade and not elevated like speed bumps are. They would probably also be much less expensive than speed bumps. Thank you for your consideration of our concerns. I know I speak for at least myself, 541 Locust, who's sitting right there, and 540 Locust, who wasn't able to attend tonight. And I would like to make an offer. There's a big crack across the street in front, right in front of my house. The dip's already halfway made. I would like to volunteer to pay for the concrete for it. Y'all dig the dip out. I will cover the cost of the concrete. Something has to be done because the young man who does, I watched him. He's missed, I have 4 big rocks in front of my yard. He's missed them by inches. And I was like, oh, please hit the rocks so I can call the cops. But he didn't. But this young man is still out there. So there's a danger to all of us who live on that curve. Okay.
And I'm sure you've made a report, police report and all of that stuff.
Oh, yeah, they have a police report. They have, one thing that didn't get in the police report was the fact that he destroyed the water spigot in their garden, which broke off about a foot below grade, which is going to be horrendously expensive for them to fix. It didn't make it into the police report. The police have pictures, and my neighbor, Janice Dickens Street, will be more than happy to send you all pictures of the devastation. It's horrible. It took
Right,
out, they worked really hard on their garden. It took out the whole garden, the spigot, the entire fence. And it, like I said, if it weren't for that tree, he would have gone straight into the house next door. Thank you for listening.
Anyone else? Oh, all right. We have the consent agenda. On the consent agenda is the payment approval report for April 11th, 2024 through April 24th, 2024, in the amount of $202,107.61, as well as the payment approval report for April 25th, 2024 through May 1st, 2024 for $408,390.93, and the April 16th, 2024 minutes and resolution 2024-24. Have a motion.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Trustee White,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
trustee Cohen,
Yes.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
All right, the next item is the public hearing on the South World Annexation number 2. Time is now 6:35 and I'll open the public hearing. All right, you have a motion?
May I make both of them together, Mayor?
Yeah. Please.
I move to continue the public hearing for South Weld annexations number 2 and number 3 to May 21st, 2024 at 6:30 PM at Town Hall and by Zoom. The proceedings related to this matter are being held in abeyance pursuant to CRS Section 31-12-114. Second.
Roll call, please.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee Tapey, or sorry, trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Cohen,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
Next item is resolution 2024-25.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a lease agreement with North Forest Office Space for professional office space located at 191 Telluride in Brighton. This is a little bit unusual. We are, as you know, we have a lovely town hall built in 2016. And with the growth coming to the community, we are in desperate need of office space. There's none available in town, and we had actually had another area a little further down the way. But this is a nice professional office space that's available. And the lease is for 3 years. I guess I'll back up a minute. But the original plan we had was to remodel the modulars over there adjacent to Town Hall to give us a little bit more space. Now that we know the water treatment plant expansion is needed and needed as fast as possible, that's not possible with Public Works also occupying those buildings back there. So we need to accomplish a few things. We need to kind of start to work on clearing that space out. So when construction begins on the water plant expansion, it can begin, as quickly as financing and contracts are in place. And we are putting our foot on the gas to get to those. But in the meantime, adding the professional staff here, we have approved positions. We hired a planner that started last week. So we've shuffled some offices around in there. But we're really at our limit. There's no more functional office space available over here. So this presents a good opportunity, and it is a 3-year lease. But I wouldn't see us having ultimate facilities plan, knowing what we're building, and any either expansion on this site, another building on this site, or anything that's off-site that we might acquire land-wise. So it's a pretty good opportunity. We will we're trying to arrange it so that we don't ever have to send a resident down there to do anything, a building permit or anything. between everything you can do online, just the knowledge of the front staff and just being, about 5 or 6 minutes down the road, we can schedule meetings, we can have people come down here. It's important to us, so we don't ever send a resident, to those. We'll have development meetings down there, staff will be down there. Developers will be down there, for meetings, but it'll be mostly for staff. So we feel that this is a pretty good opportunity. We already had one opportunity, get taken off the market, and there's just not a lot around. We've been looking. We did look, Jacqueline mentioned, trustee White mentioned, looking at Fort Lupton. I looked over there. They didn't have any office space available. So this, everywhere else, you have to just go further out. So this really isn't too far away. If you're familiar with where it is on Telluride Street. And so we can use some of the funds to remodel the modulars to help with the rest of the lease year this year. There's some creative, kind of cost recovery we're looking at through some, maybe a capacity fee when we update our fees. Some other things we're looking at. The other costs that would be associated with this would be for some office furniture, and equipment, some computers, some phones, things like that, which we would work on kind of once we get the go ahead here and come back with some separate things, actions for that. So with that, I know I've kind of breezed through a lot, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
Anyone have questions, comments? Trustee Westcott?
I guess I'm just curious as to, and I know that you probably don't have an answer tonight, but I would like to know, like, what's the long-term plan in terms of, or what is the plan for coming up with a plan for how we're going to accommodate growth in the future? Is it just that we're going to rent office space in Brighton?
No, the plan is to try and acquire some land. We did have an opportunity that would have been perfect. It was very close to here and it had some outbuildings on it. So we could have moved Public Works temporarily into there while we figure it out. But that's now under contract, so that's gone. So I've been making some calls, this week, around here, because we need a place to move Public Works and town land is limited. But ultimately, our plan is to, if we were to acquire some property, to do some facilities master planning. So project, a town our size, what kind of staffing other communities of similar size have, turn that into square foot, buildings, put footprints and just say that this is what we're gonna need. We're gonna need this many acres, whether it's in one site or in a couple sites. And we do have some opportunities in some developments that there are some, smaller, for example, where we are putting the elevated water storage tank. There are some smaller pockets like that. But then everything is kind of here, there, scattered, and you're constrained by the site. So ideally, if we were to acquire a piece of property, you could do some master planning with all of the plan for all the municipal facilities that we'll need as we grow and develop, but at least we'd have the land to do it and then can master plan what that looks like and phase it and finance it as growth happens instead of building some giant building and then, oh, we'll grow into it, but just to grow a little smarter.
Anyone else? Go ahead. Trustee Wong.
How many people are we gonna put in the lease?
Right now, it would be 4 people here, which are 2 offices. There's someone that sits out in the area. And then there's 3 people in 2 offices. So initially it would be those 4. We're trying to hire a civil engineer and probably another planning person. So it's got space to accommodate all that for the next couple of years.
And those people will still come back here for like group activity. I guess I'm a little concerned that we're gonna silo those people off into some other role over there and you guys function so well as a team now.
No, those are all questions that we've had to wrestle with internally, and it's a little, it's like, oh, it's great to just go down the hall and regular meetings. But no, we would make sure we bring everybody back, and we regularly have committee meetings of, wellness, exercise and games and things that are here. So we really want to make sure we maintain that, and it's just not, oh, I kind of forgot who's over there. And yeah, with Public Works needing to move as well, it's gonna be the same thing. So wherever they end up landing, we're not all gonna be on the main campus right now. But we keep, it should be temporary. It shouldn't be a long-term solution. So, it'll be difficult, but I think we have the meetings and, everybody kind of understands it, even though it's not ideal.
Right, trustee White?
So I'm just reading your little, blurb here for the background. I know you said, it says at least 2 will likely be demolished if they cannot be really relocated. So have we not checked on that already? I thought we've had people out already when we looked at having the library there, when we looked at using it as office space, we looked at using it as party space for people to rent. Haven't we already had it looked at? We're not sure if they can actually be moved or not. Like, I feel like that should be step 1. Are they usable or not? And if they are, I know like the skate park land, do we not have any space that we can move it to? Because we haven't spent money to fix that yet. We're supposed to demolish what was there. I just feel like I have a hard time sending anybody to Brighton, and we have such a high turnaround. I mean, we've been trying to hire positions. We've had them open for a long amount of time and them not get filled. It just kind of seems like we're putting the carriage before the horse here. I'm not seeing a solution for the actual need, which is the public works people. So by getting this office space, the public works people aren't moving in here and they're not moving in over there. So we still don't have a solution for the actual problem.
That is accurate. We had a solution that for Public Works slipped away. So now we have to work hard to get them off of this site, and that site won't include those modulars no matter what. So remodeling those now or putting money into those really means it gets destroyed. Yes, people have been and looked at the modulars. We've had conversations with our building official, and it depends when they were manufactured, if they can be moved. And Chris Larman has been trying to locate the tags on those, the HUD tag, to see what year they were. Because if they're before a certain year, they're just not able to be picked up and moved and reutilized. So, he hadn't been able to find those, last I checked. But, yeah, those, like I said, in my report, we might be able to leave one just on site as a construction trailer, while plant expansion is happening. We need lay down yard space where all the materials are stored, and then just all the activity going on. So, you're right, this office space doesn't solve the public works problem. But we've now shifted to try and find that, because we need to start that plant expansion as quickly as possible.
We would just be approving something that's not an absolute necessity right now to only be followed up by something that is a necessity shortly. We know that's going to be coming down the pipeline.
They're both necessities, and as he said, with regard to the Public Works, we had already thought we were going down the avenue to closing that deal or working that deal to get the land for Public Works. Out from underneath us, somebody put an offer in on it and they got accepted, so we lost that deal. So now AJ is doing his due diligence and looking for a place.
I
Go
understand
ahead,
that.
trustee. What's that? Go ahead.
I said, I understand what you're saying with that, but looking at the map, like the space is bigger than we need. There's a huge waiting room there. You're saying we're not gonna send people there. It seems like a quick solution, but it's not ideal to what our needs are, is my concern, but go ahead.
I'm sure you've considered this, but it just occurred to me, so I'm going to ask it, which is that in this post-COVID world, have we talked about or thought about letting those 4 people work remotely until we have a perfect solution? I don't know what the requirements of their jobs are, so that may not be possible at all.
We have, and the community development department with the planners, they're not a remote type of a team. And especially with the new person we hired, it's literally, oh, can we literally sit at a table? Yes, you can share screens, but rolling up the big plans and pointing and noting. it wasn't desirable to have them go remote because that's the first thing we thought, well, we could just, yeah, make everybody remote. So we did look at that.
Else?
I mean, I just want to make sure everybody saw the map. We're talking about moving 4 people into 8 spaces with a huge conference room and a huge waiting room.
I did see the map, and I think what I understand from AJ is that they are trying to plan for future growth as we have some open positions that are not currently those 4 people. Which I would add that I appreciate that you're doing that, so.
Yeah, and just to clarify, we don't have positions out there that aren't they're not advertised. We are not advertising the position until we can figure out office space. We literally couldn't hire an engineer and have anywhere to put them that's reasonable to be able to roll out plans. So we're waiting on posting those positions and the new ones that we're probably gonna need that you'll see in the budget for next year, until we have office space where we can kind of send everybody to. So yeah, it is only 4 people right now. But the other neat thing about having this space is we have a variety of consultants. And with the big projects we have coming up, we're gonna need them to be here, and we're gonna ask for commitments for, like a day a week to be here. And so for them to have kind of a place where they can set up their own and they're here for 5-6 hours and can, pop in and check their personal work emails, that gives them that space. The waiting room won't be utilized, so you could put some cubes out there. But the conference room will. There are often times where we are double booked on the conference room, so it would be incredibly handy to have a second conference room available.
What else? I will entertain a motion.
I move to approve resolution 2024-25, a lease agreement for professional office space with North Forest Office Space LLC.
Second,
Roll call, please.
Trustee Cohen,
yes.
trustee Bristow,
No.
Mayor Mahoney,
Yes.
trustee White,
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Item is staff and attorney updates. Anything major there, AJ?
No, I would just point back to the sheet I handed out, and I think everyone had that with the upcoming meetings and events. I don't have anything. I know we're gonna go into an executive session. But no, nothing.
Okay. Anything? Anything? I like that. Although that means nothing's happening. Wait a minute, what are you guys doing? All right, mayor and trustee comments, trustee Bristow?
Nothing tonight, thank you.
White?
Nothing, thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey?
I've just heard from a couple of neighbors recently about how it would be nice to have an off-leash area for dogs. As I think about how to repurpose the skate park that we've taken down, or potentially the grassy area where the farmhouse used to be by Bella Vista. It would be nice to consider fencing something in and having some sort of area for dogs. We have a lot of dogs. And I have an email from a constituent to that effect as well. And maybe I'll bring it up at our next meeting too, but considering an off-leash area for dogs would be nice. Thanks.
I don't really have anything. I would like to I know that a lot of people said this last night, but thank you for all of the hard work I know that you guys worked all the weekends for all the work that's gone into the annexations of late. So I just want to say thank you. And that's it. Thank you.
Trustee Cohen?
let's see, on the CML Policy Committee front, the legislative session ends tomorrow, I believe, so just keep a good thought that they won't get much else done. And then I have a question, and that is about our citizens. And that curb something that we can have.
Usually we end up either following up, depending on the nature of the comment, kind of just with the resident directly. I made a note to look at that address, have Chris Larman look at that and just see, first about, I know that our road maintenance, we need to do some of that with pavement analysis and crack sealing and the like. But yeah, as far as kind of the speed dips, speed bumps, speed tables, you probably want to look at a more comprehensive town-wide, plan for that. But in the near term, we can look at the curb and really just go out there and see what we could do more immediately.
May I say something?
I'm not quite done.
Oh, it was in
Um,
regards to that.
And then, this may be a chief question, and so feel free to tell me you don't know. But in regards to the homeowner that had damage to their property, is that maybe her cost can be recouped?
That does sometimes happen if they actually, ticketed and it went through court and there's property damage. A lot of times there is restitution paid by the person who damaged it. I can find out and kind of let everybody know if that was the case or not.
I apologize for interrupting you. I was just piggybacking. I know in Silver Peaks, you used to be able to request online, and I don't see the form anymore, a speed study. So maybe we can ask Chris about that. When people would have concerns about cars or multiple complaints on the same corner or whatnot, there was a way to submit for a request to get a speed study. So maybe one could be requested for that street and go from there. And secondly, also, I was going to ask the same thing about victims. I've never had an accident here in town. I've had plenty in Brighton, and I know that there's an Adams County Victim Services that will pay restitution and pay for house repairs, car damage, things like that. Do we have anything for Lockbuoy itself? Like I know Brighton has its own, and then there's one through the county. Do we have any victim service funds available through Lockbuoy? Through Weld County? Okay, thank you.
That all, Trustee Cohen? Okay. All right, and I'm gonna be brief, but I have one thing to say. I have enjoyed everything I've done here. I've enjoyed Lockbuoy. I've enjoyed making these things happen, like this building that Larry Strock helped get this thing going. I've been doing this a long time and I've enjoyed it. I don't regret not one little iota. I mean, I've had a lot of sleepless nights and a lot of headaches, and that guy right there has been part of them. But I'm resigning. June will be my last meeting. I am going another path. I'm gonna be done. I'm not finishing out this tour. So I just want to thank everyone. I want to thank the staff we have. I want to thank the board we have, because I tell you what, I've been sitting here for a lot of boards, and this by far has been one of the better ones, with communication, with being able to talk, even though we don't agree, we get going the same direction. And I appreciate that. And you make my, and I've really enjoyed working with all of you, and I thank you very much for the opportunity to do so. But yeah, I hear the country music in the background, boom, ba-doom, ba-doom. I'm here riding down the trail. So I just wanted to again say thank you all, and just be on the record to say I'm gonna miss it. I really and truly am. But you know what? Like AJ and I were just talking. kind of going out on a high note with the BNSF stuff and the new Starbucks and all the little things that are coming in. It's really growing. And- You know, I sold Santiago's that building and I couldn't get him to give the mayor at least one free burrito. What the hell? I even bid against them. I was gonna buy the building. They outbid me and I'm like, you guys paid way too much for that. It's yours. But no, I really do appreciate everything we've done together and I appreciate all of your hard work and again, not making my life a little bit of a headache by, you know, we've had our battles, but we've always settled our battles and we've done what we're supposed to do, and that's make this town a better place. So thank you very much. And with that, next thing is a exec session.
I move to executive session pursuant to CRS 24-6-402(4) with special counsel for legal advice on litigation concerning library.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Jeffrey,
Yes.
trustee Cohen,
Yes.
trustee Bristow,
Yes.
trustee White,
Yes.
trustee Westcott,
Yes.
Mayor Mahoney.
Yes. Carries, and the time is now 7:01 and we will take a short recess.